to. What if it's a trap? Global power is shifting.
Maybe Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers.
Welcome to Mr. Screen. Sam Wilson now as the new Captain America has a very big mission, which is to hold the burden of the shield. Even with all his technology and innovation in combat, he is still not a super soldier. This is perhaps one of the biggest burdens, so he will have to find a way to face the Red Hulk and other enemies. But what no one expects is that in the midst of this, another being is observing all this. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. In the early morning, the rising sun rose over New York, casting long golden shadows across the skyscrapers. Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, adjusted the shield on his arm as he looked out the window of the Avengers headquarters. Since taking on the mantle left by Steve Rogers, Sam had faced monumental challenges, but nothing could have prepared the world for what was to come. In the corridors of power, General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross plotted in silence. A man hardened by decades of military service, Ross had a clear vision. World order could only be maintained under a single absolute command. His quest to achieve this supremacy had led him down a dangerous path. He had now become the Red Hulk, an unstoppable, brutal force fueled by rage and ambition. Whispers of war. Sam Wilson was meeting with Bucky Barnes, Sharon Carter, and other members of the Avengers. Recent news of strange military movements and mysterious disappearances at bases around the world had everyone on edge. Reports suggested that a new elite force, led by Ross, was behind it. Ross has always had a warped view of what it means to protect the country, Bucky said, frowning as he looked at maps spread out on the table. But now he's crossed the line. If the rumors about him becoming the Red Hulk are true, we're dealing with a threat that may be unprecedented, Sharon said, crossing her arms in concern. Sam stared at the gleaming shield in his hands. He felt the weight of responsibility growing stronger with every passing second. We need to find out where he is and what he plans to do before it's too late. The first assault. At a secret military base outside Washington, D.C., Ross was mounting his offensive. Elite troops, armed to the teeth with advanced technology and genetic modifications, awaited his orders. In the center of the command room, Ross, now in the form of the Red Hulk, roared in a deep, powerful voice. The time has come for the world to understand who holds the true power. Anyone who opposes us will be destroyed. His eyes burned red as he outlined plans that would result in the seizure of capitals around the globe. The first phase of the plan began with a devastating attack on a defense installation in Paris. Explosions rang out, and citizens fled in panic as towering figures of elite soldiers marched through the streets. Sam and Bucky, accompanied by Rhodey, who was piloting the War Machine suit, were dispatched immediately. Chaos was absolute. Buildings crumbled and sirens echoed incessantly. Encountering the Red Hulk. In the middle of the battlefield, Sam spotted Ross in his monstrous form. The Red Hulk was imposing, larger than he could have ever imagined, with veins pulsing with red energy. "Captain America," Ross roared with a cruel smile. "Do you think you can stop the march of justice?" Sam didn't respond with words. He launched himself with his mechanical wings open, dodging a massive attack that Ross delivered with a punch that shattered the asphalt. The impact was so strong that it threw vehicles meters away. The Red Hulk counterattacked with surprising speed, grabbing Sam by the ankle and throwing him against a building. Captain America felt a sharp pain, but got up with determination. He threw his shield with precision, hitting Ross's jaw and cutting off the flow of his mad speech. Bucky and Rhodey joined a fight, but even the combined power of the three didn't seem enough. Ross, fueled by an unstoppable rage, seemed to be an unstoppable force of nature. Revelations and unlikely alliances. After a brutal battle, the Avengers were forced to retreat to formulate a new plan. Sharon Carter brought back vital information. Ross had allied himself with renegade scientists exploring genetic manipulation technology and energy weapons stolen from Reed Richards' lab. "We need more help," Sam said, looking at the exhausted faces of his allies. "We need all the allies we can muster." The call for help reached the ears of Shuri, the Black Panther, and Stephen Strange, the Doctor Strange. Strange, with his mystical abilities, could locate Ross anywhere on the globe, while Shuri brought the technological might of Wakanda to bear in the battle. The decisive battle. With the new reinforcements, the Avengers returned to the offensive, this time in Geneva, where Ross was making his final address to the world's press. Cameras captured the colossal, red figure of the Red Hulk as he declared his power over the nations. No more weak and disunited leaders. Today, a new order begins with strength and purpose. The speech was interrupted by the impact of an energy bolt that cut through the sky. Doctor Strange appeared, closely followed by the Black Panther and the rest of the Avengers. Doctor Strange felt a ripple in reality, an invisible tremor that rippled through the layers of spacetime. His eyes closed for a moment as he concentrated, his hands carving complex symbols into the air. A blue-violet light emanated from his hands, pulsing in waves. This fighting, this unbridled war is tearing at the barriers between timelines, he murmured, his deep voice thick with concern. If we continue like this, we risk a much greater catastrophe. Sam Wilson, still panting from the earlier battle, turned to Strange. What are you saying, Stephen? What is really at stake here? Doctor Strange opened his eyes, which now glowed with an unsettling intensity. I saw it. I saw what could happen if we do not act more wisely. The war we are waging against Ross, weakening the walls that protect our reality from the others. And through that breach, I saw a vision of Tony Stark. The Avengers exchanged confused glances. Rhodey, still feeling the weight of his old friend's absence, stepped forward. Stark? He's dead. How can that be? Dr. Strange shook his head, the red cloak floating around him as if it had a life of its own. What I saw wasn't the Tony we knew. In alternate timeline, a version of Tony Stark became something darker, more dangerous. He became Doctor Doom. A heavy silence fell over the room. Strange words reverberated, echoing like an alarm bell in the minds of every hero present. The name Doctor Doom carried a reputation for terror and absolute power, and to think that Tony, the genius, billionaire, and hero, could transform into this nefarious figure was almost inconceivable. Destiny manifested before they could fully digest the news. A crack in the air, like glass breaking, cut through the scene. A glowing fissure, filled with crackling energy, opened before them, exuding a greenish glow and a chill. Stranger's eyes widened. No, it's already happening, he whispered. From that fissure emerged a towering figure, encased in gleaming armor of black and silver metal, with a flowing cape of deep green. The familiar helmet of Doctor Doom covered his face, but there was something unnervingly familiar in the way he moved, the posture he assumed. Avengers, the metallic voice rang out, filled with grim confidence. I see you are having trouble controlling your own creations. Allow me to help you, or rather replace you. Sam stepped forward, shield ready in his hand. Who are you? The figure raised a hand covered in intricately crafted metal plates. I am the future you tried to prevent. I am Tony Stark, reborn into a truth that transcends your limitations. Bucky clenched his fists, his mind racing with conflicting memories and emotions. No, this can't be. Tony would never become this. But Tony, now Doctor Doom, smiled behind his mask. Oh, but I did. And now I am the herald of Doomsday. Inescapable confrontation. As the Avengers prepared to face this new threat, the temporal anomalies began to multiply. Entire cities flickered between alternate realities, transforming into unrecognizable landscapes for seconds before returning to normal. The chaos intensified, and Red Hulk, taking advantage of the confusion, attacked with even greater fury, strengthening his march towards global domination. Doctor Strange conjured a mystical barrier around the Avengers as he explained quickly. If we don't stop Stark Doom, these temporal rifts will continue to expand until our timeline collapses completely. We need a plan. Shuri, who had remained silent until then, raised her voice. We must divide our forces. Some of us must confront Red Hulk to contain him, while others face Stark. Sharon Carter, with determined eyes, added, but who will have the ability to face someone who knows all our weaknesses and was once one of our best? A sharp silence fell before Bucky stepped forward. I will. I knew Tony as well as anyone, and I have a score to settle. Fight against destiny. The battlefield that formed was a distorted landscape where time seemed to flow erratically. Lightning bolts of energy and images of moments past and future danced in the air. General Thaddeus, Thunderbolt, Ross stared out at the battlefield with a steely gaze, his eyes reflecting the explosions and distortions tearing through reality around him. He had always been a man of unyielding conviction, willing to sacrifice whatever it took to maintain order. But now, seeing the magnitude of the threat they faced, even he recognized that unlikely alliances would have to be made. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer a matter of control. We are facing something that threatens the existence of everything we know. Order to all squads. Full support for the Avengers, Ross declared, his steady voice echoing over the intercoms as military helicopters circled overhead, casting shadows over the chaos. Armed to the teeth, soldiers from Ross's army, known as the Thunderbolt Force, lined up alongside the heroes. State-of-the-art armored vehicles and combat vehicles began to form a defensive barrier, ready for the battle to come. The unthinkable union. Meanwhile, the towering figure of Doom Stark stood atop a floating energy platform, watching with a mixture of disdain and fascination. His armor gleamed with a blend of arcane technology and advanced science, radiating an aura of absolute power. "Do you think banding together in desperation will change the inevitable fate?" he taunted, his voice reverberating across the chaotic landscape. "You don't understand. This isn't just a battle, it's a rewriting of the very fabric of existence. And I am the architect of this new world." Demolidor, his muscles tensed and his eyebrow freshly cut, exchanged a glance with Sam Wilson. "He's building up to something bigger. We need to buy time and find a way to neutralize him." Sam nodded. "Ross is with us now. We'll use every resource we can to keep Doom occupied." Ross stepped closer, his rigid, authoritative figure softened by the acceptance of reality. "Wilson, if you have a plan, now is the time to put it into action. My army is at your disposal." The Doomsday Declaration. Doom Stark raised his hands and with a subtle movement, began to manipulate the temporal rifts, causing visions of different realities to overlap around him. In one, the Avengers fell, defeated, and the Earth was swallowed by a vortex of destruction. In another, a distorted version of Stark as Dr. Doom commanded armies of machines and supernatural beings. "You will see that true power lies in rewriting destiny," Doom declared, his eyes glowing with an almost divine intensity. "Today, I leave you with a promise. I will return, and this will be the beginning of Doomsday." With a final gesture, Doom disappeared into a portal of green energy, taking with him the sense of a terrible foreboding. The tension before the storm. The silence that followed was more ominous than any battle. The heroes and soldiers looked at each other, exhausted and battle-scarred, as the cracks in reality slowly closed, at least for now. Ross walked over to Sam Wilson, extending his hand in a rare gesture of respect. "You have my support, Captain. What we face today is only the beginning, and we know the real war is yet to come." Sam accepted the gesture, his expression serious. "We need every ally we can find. Doom will return, and when he does, we must be ready." Daredevil, wiping the blood from his face, gave a slight crooked smile. "Then we are all in agreement. When he returns, we will be the ones to strike first." Preparations for the end. The Avengers, the Thunderbolt Army, and unexpected allies like Ross and Daredevil began working on a plan that would bring together not only strength, but intelligence and cunning. The threat of Doom Stark loomed over them like a shadow, but now there was new hope, a unity forged in adversity, and in the recognition that, in the face of such an immense threat, every piece on the board was vital. And so, while the world waited for Doom's return and the fulfillment of his promise of Doomsday, heroes and soldiers worked tirelessly, knowing that the future of Earth depended on their collective actions. The final war was about to begin. So what did you think of this story? If you've come this far, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.